this is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and today we're going to look at the HP ElitePad 900. This is a Windows tablet, 10.1 inches, very light, 1.38 pounds, very nice looking metal chassis. But the interesting thing about this is going to be all the accessories. You're going to feel like you're watching the Home Shopping Network when you see all the accessories you can get for this guy. I'm going to look at it now. So this is the HP ElitePad 900. First couple of months ago we heard word about this guy, but really it didn't start hitting the market until about 2 months ago. And the interesting thing about this product is all the accessories that revolve around it. Those do bring up the price tag, though you can get some bundle deals from HP if you want to buy this plus some of the accessories together, making a good deal. But overall, this is priced to be a business product. So those of you who are out there with small budgets and just need consumer level products, you're probably going to say, oh my God, that's insanely expensive. Well, I can't blame you. From a consumer standpoint it is, but since HP is looking to sell this into business, it's not too bad. First off, 1280 by 800 display here, 10.1 inch, so we're not going to complain that it's not full HD. First, it's an Intel Atom processor inside, the usual Z2760, 1.5 gigahertz dual core with turbo boost, or boost to 1.8 gigahertz. So driving a whole lot of pixels really isn't the ideal thing for an Atom. And also at 10.1 inches, the desktop would just become absurdly teeny. And right now you can actually do things like read text, which is just fine with me. It's also very sharp, very clear. It's a nice quality display. HP did well with this. It has Gorilla Glass too, so it's rugged. This passed some mil-spec tests for dust, moisture, that kind of thing. And it's got an aluminum body. This reminds me a lot actually of the HP Envy X2, which was a good looking product. And so is this. It's actually really stylish for a business product. Usually those are the heavy, clunky, boring looking things, and HP went to town trying to make this as thin as possible. Under 10 millimeters thick, it's 0.36 inches, so a little over 1/3 of an inch. Nice aluminum here. This is your antenna window over here for your wireless. We have dual band Wi-Fi in here, Bluetooth 4.0 high speed, and NFC. There's a little NFC symbol right over there. And most models actually have broadband as well. There is a micro SIM card slot on this. The base models, in terms of wireless, have T-Mobile 4G HSPA+, not LTE, and then for about 50 bucks more you can get one that handles both bands on AT&T and T-Mobile, still HSPA+. The interesting thing is, if you get the one that's T-Mobile only, you get 200 megs of data per month for 2 years included. You don't have to sign any contracts, you don't have to hand over your credit card with that. And for those of you who are wondering where the slot would be, it's under here. Now this is a little pokey hole. You poke it to get this door to open up. That is just annoying. I don't know what HP was thinking. And plus, once you get the door open, it's kind of hard to get it back again. The micro SD card slot is also under that door. Now you probably won't be removing your SIM card all the time, but the micro SD card you might be. So yeah, it's kind of annoying. And even with my fingernails being pretty typical, nice big woman style fingernails, I can't pull that off without using a bent paper clip to get it out. Not many ports here by default. You know, it's an Atom tablet. Usually at best they have a USB or a micro USB and audio, and that's about it. Not even HDMI on this, but we'll get into that with the expansion sleeves. This is our power button right here. That's a microphone. This is the rotation lock slider. This is our 3.5 millimeter combo headphone mic jack. On the side, kind of an interesting line. It's got a curve up and it meets at a little bit of a point. The curve makes it comfy to hold in the hand. It actually feels pretty nice. We have stereo speakers here, no Beats branded audio, but you know, reasonable 10-inch tablet kind of sound coming out of it. This is a combo docking port and charging connector. Pretty wide here. That's because it does a lot of different things depending on the expansion jacket that you have installed. So optional dongle adapters. We're going to get into accessory-itis here. So here's one that would plug in right here, and it has USB, full-size USB. This is USB 2.0, that's all this generation of Atom supports, so you can use this actually without having to get an expansion jacket. This guy sells for $39. Tested it with external hard drives, works just fine, so it can power portable hard drives without needing external power for those drives. Now this giant guy right here is another dongle adapter, plugs in here. This gives you both full-size HDMI and VGA ports. And this is $49. So again, for those of you who don't want to buy the expansion jackets, but you need that connectivity. Now this is a bulky thing to be carrying around, let's face it. It starts to become attractive to think about those jackets, especially because some of them offer things like, well, battery power, battery backup. This side here, nothing too much to see except for the volume controls on the back side. Now this is a lot like the HP Envy X2. They did the same thing by putting the volume controls on the back. The idea is when you're holding it like this, it's right under your fingertips, and these are actually larger and more pronounced, so it does get the job done a little bit better. You can feel it with your hand to tell what you're doing. Up front here we have the Windows Home button, and this is a clicky, movable, mechanical type. That's a good thing so you don't accidentally brush it and go home when you didn't mean to go home. And this is full Windows 8, 32-bit because the Intel Atom is a 32-bit CPU, but it's Windows 8 Pro. That means you get the full desktop. You can install everything on here that you would on a regular Windows computer. Again, it is an Atom, so it's not going to be the sharpest knife in the drawer. It's about like using a netbook. A later, more recent netbook, not one of the early and really abysmally slow ones, but it's fine for office productivity work, if you're accessing databases, if you're doing some vertical market work where you just need to collect photos of a scene or something like that and put them in here. But it's not going to be for heavy lifting. You're not going to do software development on here, video editing, that kind of thing. You can see our Windows Experience Index right here. The processor, 3.4. Memory, 4.7. There's DDR2 RAM in here. Again, that's what Atom rocks with. 3.7 for desktop graphics, 3.3 for 3D graphics, and this uses Intel GMA integrated graphics. Primary hard disk, which is an eMMC sort of, won't call it SSD, it's solid state storage, because technically it's really not a standard SSD interface on Atoms. That scores a 5.8, which is actually a little slower than 5.9, which we usually see on full-size laptops that have spinning conventional 7200 RPM hard drives. Another nice thing about solid-state storage is you can do this all day long, and it's not going to crash the heads on your disk drive because it's all solid-state. On PC Mark 7, it scored 1286. Usually we see closer to 1400 on Atom tablets, but honestly it's felt just as responsive as other Atom tablets. It hasn't felt any slower, so go figure. W prime, 59 seconds to compute pi, so not too super fast there, but then Atom tablets usually aren't. So obviously you mathematicians might not want an Intel Atom tablet, but most of us do not spend our workday computing pi out to many places. As I said, it's Windows 8 Pro all around 32-bit. There is no Windows Home on this because this is a business product. Also, unlike consumer products, this one has passed mil-spec 810G tests, so in case you're wondering what you're paying for here, that's what you're paying for. Viewing angles are quite good on this. It is glossy, but it's 400 nits, so that can combat outdoor brightness for those of you who need to use this in the field. Now how about some more accessories? First we have the docking station. Very nice, very weighty, soft touch finish. And importantly, ports everywhere. Here's 2 USB ports here, one with charging, Kensington lock slot. On the back, VGA, full-size HDMI, and Ethernet too, nice. Comes with its own charger, since the connector port over here is going to be taking up the charging port on the tablet itself, so you get a standard sort of mini notebook style charger in with that. But wait, there's more. And on this side we have 2 more USB ports and a line out for your speakers or your headphones. That sells for around $119 to $129. Again, there are bundles that include it. Very easy to drop it right in. Stable, solid, everything you'd expect from a decent dock. Now the standard charger that comes with the tablet looks like this, your basic wall wart charger, and this is the large connector that plugs into the bottom of this. This can also plug into the expansion sleeve, so you don't have to take the expansion sleeves off if you want to charge your tablet. Now we get into Sleeve Fest here. The neat thing about this guy is that it can use sleeves. So you take your $749 to $799 base price for the 64 gig tablet, and then you invest in some sleeves to go with it. By the way, there is one that is cheaper. It's $699. It only has 32 gigs of storage. Really, you're going to have almost nothing left. You're lucky if you're going to fit on 1 or 2 apps on their programs, so don't get the 32 gig. Also, for those of you who are not business buyers, do look at HP's consumer website. They also list it, and you'll find this is $100 less if you buy it through the consumer website. But anyway, back to the sleeves. This is our expansion jacket, and how do you get it in? You pop the top off, you slide the tablet in, easy to do. But first, notice a little section right here, and there's some screws. battery. You can buy this just with just as a sleeve, just to get the expansion ports, or you can get it with a battery inside that will double run times, add about another 8 hours on. So $99 for the base sleeve, $149 for the sleeve plus that battery. If you buy the batteries separately, the standard battery is $99, and there's even a higher capacity battery for $149. Slide it in here. We have ports for the speakers, which is intelligent, so this is not going to block the audio as it comes out. We slide our top back on here. Fits on pretty strongly. I'm picking it up right now by that top, so once it locks on there, it actually stays on, which is good. Rubbery soft touch finish. So you get two USB 2.0 ports on this, full-size HDMI, a pass-through connector for charging, and a full-size SD MMC card slot. Back is rubbery stuff. It feels pretty good. We've got wide cutouts for the 8 megapixel camera and LED flash. Better photography than usual on this thing. It's designed for business class video conferencing. You get a full 1080p camera on the front and an 8 megapixel on the back. It actually does a pretty good job. You can see we have the indicator for NFC right here. I have not tested it to see if NFC actually will pass through this to get to that. You might have to pop it off to do that. You might not. So that's our expansion jacket. Now, even more neat is the productivity jacket. This might remind you of an iPad keyboard case at first, and in some ways it's like those things. It's more robustly built, I have to say. One thing I really like is you have 3 ridges here for 3 different positions, magnetically locating very tall keys. Now the challenge is this is still a 10.1-inch device, so you're talking about smaller netbook size layout over here, so guys with big hands will probably find it quite cramped. Despite the good key travel, nice separation, it's still a small keyboard. Not quite up there with the Lenovo ThinkPad Tablet 2 keyboard in terms of ergonomics for typing. This kind of has a faux suede here, so it's not going to scratch your device. Again, the pass-through connector right there, that's where the tablet's going to go in. This also has the speaker ports right down here. That's what it looks like from the side. It's a pretty sturdy, pretty hefty thing. It weighs 1 pound 10 ounces. Combine that with the 1.38 pound tablet, and you're looking at almost a 3 pound package though. That's the only drawback. When you start talking about 3 pounds, you start thinking, maybe I could get a Lenovo Yoga 11S or the Dell XPS 12 too, if I'm going to carry around that much weight. Now on the back here we have some ports, again the full-size SD MMC card slot, USB, another USB 2.0, and then there's our pass-through charging connector back there. Bottom has feet, it's pretty sturdy. You'll notice this here, I bet they designed this way at first just so you could stow the optional Atmel pen. This has an Atmel digitizer. Unfortunately the pen never appeared. I actually had that on order with HP and they eventually canceled my order because that was supposed to work with the Envy X2 that I had, and yeah, it never materialized. Now how do you get it in here? This one does not have the separable top, but notice this is rubbery right here, but it's a good stiff heavy rubber, so it does hold on to it. It doesn't fall out. In fact, it takes a little work to get it out again. First you drop it in just as if it was a slide-in kind of deal, and then you ease it into the rubber here. It's easier if you pull up on the rubber first on the corners to get it started. Work your way around. Pop it in, and that's just what it looks like. And again, there are adjustable angles here, so you can move it as you see fit. This one's a little strangely upright, so some of the positions are more useful than others. And again, it's pretty sturdy because it's magnetic. And when you close it, the machine will automatically sleep. It'll know that it's been closed, and this is what it looks like. Pretty rubbery, pretty rugged. Again, they're going with mil-spec standards here, so it's quite durable all around. Now this productivity cover is going to set you back $199. Again, HP has bundles because if you add all the prices of these things together, you're looking at what, a used Hyundai that's several years old. We're talking about, you could spend $1,200, $1,300, even more on this. Now, business users don't tend to price things in terms of used Hyundais. Again, that's a consumer way of looking at it, and I'm sure HP is rolling over right now in agony for the fact that I said that, but I know a lot of you consumers are out there watching. For business users who are used to paying a lot for high-end, high-quality gear, in terms of design, the usefulness of these jackets, the robustness of the design, the fact that it's actually one of the nicest looking tablets on the market, even though it's a business tablet. Well, those certainly are selling points. The T-Mobile broadband for backup when you don't have Wi-Fi, getting 200 megs a month. 200 megs is not a lot, but still it's enough to get you by in a pinch when you need it. The option to also have AT&T broadband on there for those of you who like AT&T's coverage a bit better. These are selling points certainly. In terms of speed and performance, it is an Intel Atom tablet. It's not going to be something that replaces the Microsoft Surface Pro or something else with an Intel Core CPU, but again, a lot of folks actually don't need to do much. They just work with Office, they log into the home office database, again, they manipulate some photos and that's about it. It's fine. Here we are in the Metro version of the IE web browser. Very responsive, actually, very fast. Certainly actually loads pages faster than Android and iOS tablets because Windows is pretty darn robust when it comes to that kind of thing. So how about video playback and the speakers? So here we've got our video comparison of two tablets, the Galaxy Note 8 and the latest Nexus 7. Our volume is at 50% right now, so you can hear the speakers. Kind of tinny, right? Obviously, this is Windows.
This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and today we're going to compare two tablets by popular demand. You asked for it, we're doing it. We have the 2013 Nexus 7 Slim Port HD.
And we're running at 720p, which is the appropriate resolution for this 1280 by 800 tablet.
Similar thing going on here with the volume. There's your volume rocker right there. Here's your power button.
So it can handle that just fine. Again, it can do MS Office, all the basic tasks with Windows. I would not buy this to do video editing. I would not buy this if you're a serious professional working with large raw files, photographer for example, or designer. But for those of us who aren't, and there's a lot of people out there who just need the basic tasks, more than good enough. And you've got the full Windows suite of music player, video player, all that stuff, stocks, news, and again, everything that you can do with desktop Windows is available to you. Now, of the 64 gig SSD, we have not installed too much, and you can see we have 35 gigs free on our C drive right now, so that's why I wouldn't recommend getting the 32 gig model, because obviously you don't have much space available, but there is a recovery partition also right here using up some space. Almost 3.6 gigs of space, so you could save a little bit without that recovery partition. Usually 32 gig models come without, but still, you know the drill. Get the 64 gig. For those of you who are wondering, who are new to Windows 8 tablets, there is an on-screen keyboard for those times when you're not using a keyboard with this. Obviously, you could use USB keyboard or a Bluetooth keyboard with it as well. And for business-minded people, there are some enhancements on here that you're not going to see on a consumer-level tablet. HP BIOS protection, LANDesk, Absolute Data Protect with 4 years included, so security features that certainly appeal to business users. Atom tablets are great when it comes to battery life, and they're also cool and quiet. You'll notice there's no fan vents anywhere. You don't hear any whirring. Don't need it. Just like the mobile OS CPUs that we see in Android tablets and iOS, stays cool, manages to run just fine. About 8 hours on a charge just for the tablet itself. That's pretty darn good, isn't it? That's right up there being competitive with some Android tablets on the market, but the benefit is you get to do everything you can do with full Windows over here. Now, if you add on that battery option into the expansion jacket, you can theoretically double that, and HP claims up to 20 hours. I would say probably more like 16 if you want to be at 50% brightness or so. Since it's a bright display, you could get away with less unless you're working outdoors. A gaming machine, this is not, but you can play games that come from the Windows Store just fine on this. Those tend to be less demanding. That means the ones that are going to show up in Metro here, but you're not going to be putting Crysis on this. You're really not even going to be putting Left 4 Dead 2 on this. So that's the HP ElitePad 900. As Windows Atom tablets go, it's actually very nice. The problem is, well, it has a business price tag, so you consumers out there, it's probably not going to be for you. At $800, give or take, for the 64 gig model and then all those accessories, you're really getting up there in price range. But for business users who need the kind of portability this offers, the touchscreen functionality, and the versatility of the sleeves, well, there's not much like it. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Visit our website for the full review, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.